Welcome to another episode of New Bedford Creative. I am your host, Hendrik Hernandez Resto, and on today's episode, we'll be speaking with international award-winning cinematographer and founder of the New Bedford Film Festival, Ethan DeAguiar, as well as with poet laureate, Sarah Jane Mulvey. We are here at the amazing office of DATMA at 1213 Purchase Street in downtown New Bedford at the historic Quest Center, and we are here with the founder of the New Bedford Film Festival and international award-winning cinematographer, Ethan DeAguiar. Thank you for joining us once again, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
So the film festival is something that is becoming wildly successful and wildly popular. I'm sure more and more people are hearing about it every day. It's something that we are very grateful to have here in New Bedford. But how did you come up with the idea to do something like this? New Bedford has a film history. We've had people film major films here, but never had a film festival before 2024, right?
I mean, there was some for sure, but wasn't like a long-term thing. It was a couple years, I think, or something. I'm not too up on that history, but yeah, I mean, it all kind of stemmed from, I made this documentary about the art and culture scene in the city, Love Letters for New Bedford. With that, we sent it into all of these film festivals around the country, around the world, and I just had a great time. Like, it was incredible. Awards and all that was cool, but it was more the community building and this, collection of filmmakers and storytellers and just artists and creatives of all kinds coming together to celebrate cinema, to celebrate storytelling, to celebrate people and community. And, came back after the run had kind of come to a close after like a year-long run, just talked with a few people about why hasn't New Bedford had this? And then we found out it has tried, here and there and stuff, but it just really felt in that moment that it was primed for I think we can make one that's here to stay, that can be really big. And from, my experience with film festivals and also the team and the board that we gather together and their own experiences as independent filmmakers in the film festival circuit, we just really had a good collective of people that could come together and, pick and choose what we liked from this festival and how we liked what they did here, and also just looking at New Bedford and, what kind of creative strengths and things that we had here that we could kind of capitalize on. So it all just kind of snowballed like that, but it felt like one of those things where it was just the prime time and everything just really fell into place perfectly.
Kind of like it was supposed to happen, right?
I mean, you said it.
What was your biggest why? Because we just kind of heard a little bit of the how, right? What was your biggest why to make this happen here?
My biggest why was what my why always is. It's New Bedford, man. New Bedford is amazing. It's why I, the documentary I made wasn't supposed to be a documentary at first. It was just supposed to be a highlight of this thing that, an arts organization did in collaboration with New Bedford. But talking with New Bedford people, I saw and other people saw the story there and the passion that these people had. And I saw that it could turn into this bigger thing. It was just, the support that New Bedford has given me throughout my life and my creative life has gotten me to where I am today. So having an opportunity to give back in this kind of big way is a no-brainer for me. That's always, New Bedford always has been and always will be my why, is this community, this city, and the people here.
I mean, it's a lot of our whys as artists. And maybe we don't say it out loud too often, but a lot of us do. Where we're turning around and saying, this is we're lucky to be here as artists. I know a lot of people who live elsewhere who don't have the same opportunities we have.
And I'm gonna say that's part of the secret sauce to our success. We might not always agree on how to do everything. We might not always agree on everything, but I think everybody in the city, from business owners to creatives to just regular people, are always putting, what's best for New Bedford at the forefront. And that's what drives us forward. And that's why we're able to, be the dope city that we are.
Agreed. You and New Bedford Film Festival have been able to score some grants. Wicked cool places, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, indeed.
2 years in a row, I believe, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. What has been your experience in the grant writing, the grant submission process? How easy, how difficult, what are the challenges, what does it help? Give the people some insight on that, because I think that grants are almost like a fairy tale to some people, and they don't realize how accessible they are and how something as big as a film festival can benefit from applying to the right grants in the right way.
Yeah, for sure. Grants have always kind of looked like this thing of like, that's out of my reach, or like, we're not at that level, we haven't proved ourselves enough yet. But that's the opposite of why they exist. They exist to help, creatives, or, a swath of other things. But in the creative realm, it's there to help creatives with these wild ideas make those ideas a reality. And my experience with it was definitely a lot simpler than I thought. I think the biggest challenge was just finding out about grants. Like people will send me an email, hey, there's this grant, have you heard of it? And I'm like, I've never even heard of this organization. So I think that would probably be the biggest challenge is a lot of these grants just don't get enough exposure, but they're super helpful. I mean, when you're trying to run something like a festival, especially when you're trying to kind of scale it up and give more for the community every year, you got to look at other avenues besides just grants. But grants are a huge leg up and a huge, launching pad that then allows you to be able to go to like sponsors or donors with kind of like more of a chip on your shoulder. Like,
proof of concept as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, one of the things that it's definitely inspired is, so along with the film festival, we had these goals of helping to expand the TV and film capabilities of New Bedford. We've since then realized that it makes more sense to split that up. So keep the film festival doing what it's doing, help, form the greater New Bedford Film Office and use that as the means to expand the film and TV industry here. Along with that, we found that, grants can help with that, but also giving more of those opportunities. A lot of these grants exist for art of all kinds, which is great, but I feel like, being in a position, I think one of the ways that we want to give back is to create more grant opportunities for filmmakers specifically, for films specifically. It's a very powerful form of storytelling, and hopefully that kind of thing will help people realize not just making a bigger investment in the creative economy as like a dollar amount, but a more niche kind of investment into it, a more what are you supporting directly? We're not just, us as artists, we're not making art solely to have something beautiful. It's self-expression. We have a message that we want to connect with other human beings over. So I think just, all of that work just kind of gains more attention to that, and we want to do our part of giving back again to the city that's given us so much.
You are the founder. You are the head of the snake. Name drop some of the people on your team and what they do, because I know that team and it's an amazing team, and I think that they all deserve as much shine. It's easy to throw Ethan out there, right? But even with me in my creative practice, they'll see me first, but I'm always saying it's not me, it's we. So speak about the we.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a whole big group of friends, and I'm gonna mess up names and forget people because I always do that, but I'm gonna try my hardest. So we got Alyssa Botello, who created Sweet Freedom, great local filmmaker, Carly Byers, Leah, Dan, Ryan, Vincent, Seth, Mark Anthony. We have Susan Sargent on our board. She's a great resource. We just added Amy Disroyers from the tourism department, which again, great partnerships being made. And so many other people that play other roles even outside of the board. Partnerships with other businesses and entities and things like that. We got Steeple Playhouse has been a real big supporter, Gallery X, the Whaling Museum, the Art Museum, Harbor Hotel. We have even friends coming in. We got, Nick, Claudia, Sean, all of these people coming in together, and just really the team is growing every day. That's why it's so hard to keep track of everybody, because it really, and with the businesses and the other organizations in the city too. New Bedford Creative, huge supporter. it just seems like the team is growing every day, but it's not even so much a team thing. It just really feels like the entire community and the entire city is really behind this.
It's not just your baby, it's starting to become all our babies, right?
And that's the thing. It's like when we come together, we make something better than we could ever do by ourselves. So that's really like the goal and everything going forward.
The film office. Would you like to speak on the potential of a film office within the city? One that's an official place where we can all meet, maybe even get some filming done. What would it look like if that was established? What is it? What are your plans around that? What is in motion?
So it kind of starts with like Massachusetts Film Office, right? So they're basically the first stop for anybody coming outside of Massachusetts or within Massachusetts. Get there, and then depending where you want to film or what kind of resources you're pulling or anything like that, they will kind of designate you to the areas you need to go to. Most of the time it's Boston, it's those kind of areas like that. But actually every major city, don't quote me on if it's every city, but every major city has a designated like film office, whether they know it or not. But most of the time it just falls under the umbrella of responsibilities for another department. Yeah. So in New Bedford, it's actually under the tourism department. It's actually Amy, which is great to have her on our board.
Of course.
However, it's like the way it currently is, it's kind of like the responsibility of a department that's already dealing with a lot of things anyway. What we want to do is come in and kind of, co-manage it in a way where we can make it its own entity.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm adamant about making it the greater New Bedford Film Office is because we want to cast this huge umbrella where all of our neighbors can be a part of this and we can share resources. The same idea that we had for the film festival, bringing all these, independent people working in their own silos. Let's bring all these other cities and towns in their own silos. Let's bring them together, share resources, share opportunities. So it's really about like bringing that all together. The productions are coming into New Bedford in this area. Like they're not stopping. They're actually increasing. But having a dedicated team with the resources needed to run something like that, I think is our main goal. And even beyond that, like I'm adamant about making the film office of and for the people of New Bedford. Like we want to host, a Hollywood production. But when they're here, like you're in our backyard, you're playing by our rules now, because we always want to do what's best for our community. And along with, bringing, it's just as much about importing talent and importing these productions as it is about giving resources to the people that are already here, already doing it. We did the governor's conference last year, maybe it was the year before now, I don't know, time is an illusion. But they had a panel discussion with like a locations manager from Netflix and a producer and a costume designer. And like across the board, there's this trend with these bigger productions and Hollywood now is that they're looking for more projects or places where there's just a lot of passion. Like you even see these big name directors or big name actors signing on to more passion projects because they're sick of like the formulaic, boring, just worry about box office numbers system that is created, that they just want to get back to the art of it and get back to why they got into it in the first place. And I think creating the Greater New Bedford Film Office as this grassroots kind of thing is not only going to be great for New Bedford and the surrounding areas, but it's hopping onto a trend that we see developing now. So we may very well put ourselves ahead of the curve.
We want to thank our brother in film, Ethan DeAguiar, founder of the New Bedford Film Festival and international award-winning cinematographer, for being with us today and giving us all that insight and knowledge and just beautiful diversity for New Bedford. Can you tell us where we can find you, where we can find the New Bedford Film Festival and its information?
Yeah, so thank you. I am on Instagram and YouTube at ethan.d.aguiar. And the film festival is NB Film Fest on Instagram, and you can go to newbedfordfilmfestival.com to get all the information, dates, tickets, all that good stuff.
So my brother, it's always good to have you.
Good. Nice seeing you. Thank you.
And we are here at the Co-Creative Center, located at 137 Union Street in New Bedford, Massachusetts, with our special guest, Poet Laureate of New Bedford, Massachusetts, co-founder of Anomaly Poetry, and the editor of the Anomaly Poetry book series, as you can see down here. We are blessed to be with Sarah Jane Mulvey. Thank you for being with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So you are the one and only poet laureate of the city as of right now, and as of the filming of this.
I mean, there's a couple of others that live here.
Yes, of course.
I'm the title holder.
You're
currently.
the title holder as of right now.
Yes.
And that's something that I don't think people are not just aware that you are, but aware that exists, or what it entails, what it takes, what they ask of you. And I wanted you to speak on that because I know it's a conversation you and I have had behind the scenes because it's something I'm very interested in. But I don't think that there's enough people who think that something like that is achievable for them. So what does it entail? What's the broad overview of it?
Yeah, so Poet Laureate is an appointed position. It's an honorary position from the New Bedford Arts Council. And it's an application process. So you have to email or post your CV with a writing sample, examples of work that you've done out in the community, and other artistic accomplishments. So for me, my community work was really kind of my keystone of my application. I've been part of Anomaly Poetry for 8 years? Wow. 8 years now?
Almost a decade.
October 2018 is when we started. Wow. With a single open mic here at the Co-Creative. And then that eventually blossomed into the publications. We now host 2 open mic series at different locations. And, you know, it's just, we went international within the last year. So we get poems submitted from folks as far off as, you know, Europe and South Africa, actually. So those are all in the books. So that was part of my application, was like, hey, I've been doing all this work with my friends. And actually, it was me and my dear friend Andrew Tedesco who does the artwork. We were the 2 that got interviews from the Art Council. And so it takes community and it takes friendship and passion for the art form. And so if you've got that, you're like 99% of the way there to achieving Poet Laureate status. The other half is getting up the courage to then send in your application.
Say, it sounds simple. So that's the easy half. Then the other half is sending in your work.
Yes, it's saying yes to the idea that you can do it. And, you know, fortunately, I've had multiple kind of mentors and guides that have said, yes, your work has value. Yes, your voice has value. Please go for this. And so if you take anything from me, it's yes, go for it. Because I don't have a fine arts degree. I have a bachelor's in communications because I wanted to be a journalist. So I came at poetry the long way around. And, you know, you don't need a master's degree. You don't need multiple publications. You need heart and passion, and you need to love where you live.
That's the exact message you gave me over Messenger when I asked about it. So this is consistent. There's no gatekeeping in the information here.
No.
And so that's where you and I met, was in journalism class in high school.
Correct.
I forget his name. Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Robinson.
Robbie Robinson. And I remember you and Paris Tibble were the editors there. And there was one more person who I forget was... But you guys always stuck out to me because you were like it was so cool to be amongst people who had a passion for journalism and for words. And I thought, as a rapper and thinking, how can I, you know, use this as something legit, as a legit career? Journalism really fell into my lap. And you guys were super encouraging of me at that time. So I remember that.
Awesome.
It was good times.
It was good times.
So in your journeys as a poet, I'm sure, and then as an editor, right? I'm sure that you've had to find funding, which is always something that artists are looking for.
God, yes.
And is a vital cog in the wheel, I'll say. What has your experience been like with finding funding? You are one of the ArtNet 100s. I am as well, which is it feels like a legitimate, almost like a fraternity or like of some sort, like a cool club that we've been lucky to be a part of. What has your experience with funding been like? Because it's something that I'm consistently finding myself talking with other artists about.
ArtNet was the first grant that I went out for. And so I went out as just myself, Sarah Mulvey, poet. But the driving force was Anomaly. We are not yet incorporated as a nonprofit, which hopefully is in the coming few months of 2025, fingers crossed. And so with that grant, I was able to bring these books into physical form, which was a kind of a pipe dream. We had to stop during the pandemic because in 2020, of course, everything just went haywire.
Yes, it did.
And things got very expensive. And so we could no longer publish the books as physical, paperbacks. And that was, kind of a lost accomplishment, right? Because it feels good to hold it in your hand.
Physically hold the copy, yes,
Flip
absolutely.
to your page, see your name in print,
Yes, I do.
And so, that was my campaign for the grant was, I have all these people behind me who have been submitting their poems over the last 4 years of the pandemic, because this was 2023, correct?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And so, over the 3-4 years of the pandemic, people had been sharing, and they just existed digitally. And so to kind of give people that moment in the sun was the driving force behind it. And so I have been consistently going out for grants since, but we've eked out that ArtNet grant for quite a while. And then with sales of the now physical books, we've been able to kind of regenerate and keep that sort of flowing. Money's always tight. It's a labor of love for me. I do it pro bono, essentially. But, anything that we have, it's like we're a non-nonprofit right now.
You're completely not-for-profit.
Exactly. I'm donating to myself at this point.
I think that's a testament to most artists where we're not starving anymore, but we're redirecting our attention and our funds to not just, I'll eat, I'm eating, I'm okay. And it's one of the more selfless things that I've seen done, because I've seen where the 100 ArtNet grants went. And before I got the job, I was one of them. And I did not do that. I bought a lot of studio equipment to help myself, but then in turn, that turned into being able to help my friends come in and record. And then we got material from that and bought a new phone and we shot videos from that. So I think it's really hard for any of us to truly be selfish at that point, because if we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of so many people around us at the same time. I think that's a testament to your selflessness, but also to like your reach. You knew you were getting these poems from people all around the world, essentially, and that having a physical copy and having that actual ink print with your name and your words, knowing that it can travel the world on more than just a screen, must have been huge, because that ArtNet grant was not a small grant. We gave everybody that received it received $4,000, but to then reinvest that, because that's what I look at that as, to reinvest that into this amazing book series. Speak to me more about the books.
Yeah, so the books, we publish 2 anthologies every year. We do Rituals in the summer and then Tidings in the winter. They coincide with our solstices, summer solstice, winter solstice. And so they're loosely themed around those seasons, but we don't keep those hard and fast rules. So the ArtNet grant allowed us to bring Needfire into the world, it's a nice big chunky one. This includes all 6 books from 2020 to 2022. Yeah, so 2, 4, 6. Yeah. Okay. So this one was this was the ArtNet grant product, and it's incredible. It's 3 years of work from people locally, from all over the world, New Bedfordites who have now moved out and found us and were like, wow, hometown, here, you want to read some of my poems. So it's a beautiful piece of community art. And it is available for purchase on Amazon if you would like to purchase.
Thank you.
Anomaly Poetry on Amazon. And so, cyclically, people have been giving us poems and I've been putting out books. And now it feels like part of the season change. So springtime, we open up for the summer book. Fall, we open up for the winter book. So it's like sowing seeds, and then, the book comes to fruition. Yeah.
It's a beautiful analogy.
Thank you.
We are here, obviously, at the Co-Creative Center, where you are a member, correct? And you do a monthly open mic poetry session,
That's
right?
correct.
During AHA night.
Correct.
How long has that been happening? What's that like? I've been part of it. I've been there. I've been part of the energy, and then we also did our ciphers outside, which you guys would finish up and then join us every once in a while. You read during my cipher, and I've been with my friends to your poetry readings. How did that come about? What is that like? Yay, AHA. Yay, co-creative for having such amazing events that are free to the public. But speak on that, please and thank you.
Yeah, so in October of 2018, my friend Andy, who is the artist on most of our covers, he wanted to launch an open mic. Me, Andy, and our friend Nick LeBlanc had been trying to kind of take over open mics in the neighborhood that are happening at bars, which are loud. And if you don't get up there with the guitar, people are like, what are you doing? And so I would go into these bars and just yell into a microphone my weird little poems. And it felt good, but they weren't resonating in the room the same way. And so Andy found Co-Creative and made the connection with Dina, who's our CEO, head honcho here.
We love you, Dina.
Love you, Dina. October 2018 was our first session. And from there, it grew into like a monthly event. I think our best one was February of 2019. We had the Poets. We had Glass Horse Theater, which is now Reverie Theater.
Okay.
They brought in some of their thespians to read bits of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Yeah, and so it was just this gorgeous, like, culmination of people that were like, oh, an open mic, but word open mic. Like, there's unfortunately not a guitar in sight on most of our nights. But it's words. And so it kind of opened up that door that, like, you can attend an open mic and you don't have to have, you don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be a comedian. There's different types. And so this is a poetry open mic. And so, that continued. We transitioned to an Zoom open mic over the pandemic.
With the new normal.
Yep, the new normal. So from March 2020 to I think March of 2022, we were on Zoom. And then Dina welcomed us back with open arms in April of 2022. And we have been here monthly ever since. And so that is AHA Nights. It's the second Thursday of every month, 7 to 9 p.m. We start reading just shortly after 7 and we go until the poems run out. So it's a different event every time. It just depends on who shows up. I introduce you by name, I step aside, and the magic happens. It's just, there's no recreating it anywhere else. Like this building in particular feels like a buzzy, like especially on that AHA night. Like it's just people are walking around. They see a sign that says an open mic. They pop in like, what's this? And eventually, I repeatedly ask, if you just stepped in and you want to read, please do. If you just stepped in, you want to read, please do. Until eventually, by the end of the night, that person who walked in off the sidewalk reads a poem for us that they had in their phone. And it's nothing like it.
It's inviting, and again, another testament as people from around the world feel compelled to send you their pieces to have them printed here, have them published here. You carry that same energy in person. And I think Anomaly carries that same energy in person where people feel like whether they're around the world or they're here, they want to be with this. And I remember during when we did the AHA nights, yes, you're right. This is like a hallway through the city almost. Like people would pass through, they would start in the front, catch something in the middle, catch us at the end. And they would, it was, the Co-Creative is a special place and you guys are right at home. Sarah Jane Mulvey, Poet Laureate of New Bedford, editor of the Anomaly book series and co-founder of Anomaly Poetry. We thank you for inviting us to the Co-Creative Center. Dina, thank you as well. And thank you for your time and your energy and all that you're doing within the community. We need people like you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you for joining us on another amazing episode of New Bedford Creative. We'd like to thank our guests, Ethan DeAguiar, international award-winning cinematographer and founder of the New Bedford Film Festival, as well as Sarah Jane Mulvey, Poet Laureate. On behalf of New Bedford Cable Network, New Bedford Creative, we'd like to thank you for joining us and find this and any other episode of this series on YouTube, on the City of New Bedford's YouTube page at City of New Bedford, MA.